Welcome, everyone. My name is Gwen Kelly. I'm the host of Combating Cancer. And if this is your very first time, I just want to say hi and thank you so much for joining this community. A little background information about me is that I was diagnosed with stage 3 astrocytoma brain cancer at the age of 19. And the reason why I created this platform is because I wanted there to be a safe and honest space for those in active treatment, in remission, grieving the loss of a loved one, or someone that just wanted to come on and learn more about cancer and how to better support someone they love. So today I have the CEO of herself, Bron Watson. I had to use it. It was so good when
It's okay. Go for it.
The CEO herself, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you.
So for anyone that doesn't know, Bron lives in Australia right now. So it is 7 a.m. her time, and she chose to spend her day talking to me. So I don't know what her issues are. We'll figure that out.
Well, I'm working it out myself, aren't I?
I know. I've been making her laugh, though. So I think we're doing a pretty good job so far.
We're doing great. We're doing great.
Yeah, I just want to thank you so much, first and foremost, for coming on and spending your morning with me.
I think the more conversations we have, the greater the awareness that we can create. And I thank you for hosting your podcast, which is fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I just want the listeners to just get to know you first. Why don't you share a little bit about yourself? I know you have 5 boys, and that must be a pretty large household and a lot of work.
It was. So let's go back. Just the context. I have had a dual career for 30 odd years in nursing and nursing education and marketing of all things. And during those years, especially nursing, it's you're giving of yourself, you're caring. You go into nursing because you want to care for other people. So here I am giving. And then obviously I married Paul, my husband, and we had 5 boys, and that was 5 boys in 10 and a half years, just saying. And it was chaos. So again, giving. I remember back in the day, it used to take me like 15 minutes just to get them into the car, get the boys in the car, shoes, bags, hats, children, like right shoes on, right fit. It was just a debacle. So I've spent a lot of my life making sure that everyone around me is okay. And in the marketing and business space, I started a business 14 years ago. And so again, I'm in this online space, initially helping nurses with some online education. Then I moved into a space which is, well, everyone was going, well, how did you leave nursing, Bron? I mean, people don't leave nursing like that. Teach me what you've learned. So I became a mentor for small business owners. Again, give, and built a business that was a beast. Man, that thing was chaos because I was so determined to deliver what I said I wanted to deliver. I was very passionate about making sure that I was the one that was there for everybody. I had masterminds and workshops and all of the things that we do until I had a diagnosis of breast cancer in 2017 from, I think it was like 1:40 on a Thursday afternoon to on the operating table the following Wednesday having a full mastectomy. And let the fun begin. And that was one thing. And then just so I can round out the story part, in 2023, I was sadly diagnosed with an incurable cancer called multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer. So I've been down the curative lane, and now I've been down the incurative lane, and I've been that nurse by the bedside for 30 odd years. And so I'm in a bit of a unique position, and that's how we ended up here.
That is a good recap.
In 3 minutes. Well done, me.
Yeah, good for you. It's almost like you've said this a couple times before.
Well, not quite like that, actually, but I don't script anything. So, I wanted to keep it short and sweet.
No, I love that. I'm the same exact way. When someone asks me my story, I'm like, I can give it to you in about 2 minutes, even though it was 5 years of my life. Here it is.
Exactly. Here's 30 years, chapter 10.
It's like the cliff notes of everything.
I know. And I think that the reason why I share that is because every person, every listener, if you're living through a diagnosis of cancer, you've got the before and you've got the after. So you've got the chapters that supported you to a point where you had this experience, the trauma of a diagnosis. And now we've got the after. And it's, I think, the defining point in how we work and play with that. That's where I think it's really important on how we live through it, because even on a curative lane, you've still got your scans, you've still got your blood tests, you've still got that, oh my God, is it coming back? And I'd got to my 5-year mark, and it was at the 5-year mark in Australia. Bless and release. Well done, Bron. Good job. Oh, by the way, can you just stay on this medication over here for another 5 years? But bless and release until, my doctor said, oh, look, your blood results, it's called neutrophils, part of what fights infection. It's on the low side. I think we might just send you off to the haematologist. So it was actually random that I was diagnosed, because normally with myeloma, you would normally break bones, which is when it gets quite advanced and it goes to lytic lesions and you get these coral-looking things in your bones. I don't have them. And I think it was a miracle that my GP, my doctor, I can't remember what you guys call your general practitioners. It's your standard, not your specialists.
Same thing.
And she was amazing, and she doesn't remember why she felt something there, but she saved my life. So here we are. I'm very, very grateful for that.
That's crazy. Hearing that you get to that 5-year mark and you're like, okay, I'm out of the woods. And then, it's just part of the healthcare system where it's like 5 years, see you later. Glad we spent the time together. Really don't want to see you again. And then you're put into that space of, okay, how do I live normally without having the big C of cancer attached to me? And then you kind of feel like you're in the clear, but you're still trying to get back on your feet again because your life is always going to be different after you get diagnosed. And then you get hit with the second diagnosis and you're just kind of like, here we go again. I mean, how did you emotionally feel during that point?
Oh, terrible. It was, and the reason why I can remember the dates is because they're just so etched in my memory. So the first call came, I saw the specialist early January of 2023, and he'd said, Bron, everything is great. I don't need to see you again, the haematologist. And then I think it was 4 days later, he rang me on a Friday and he said, Bron, those 2 bloods that I said don't worry about and that you could check with your own doctor? He goes, they're back and they're no good. What do you mean? They're really bad, Bron. Throwing words around, you're going to need a bone marrow biopsy and blah, 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 blah. And you'll need to book into my rooms and then we'll get that biopsy done. And he must have thrown the word multiple myeloma around. So he knew, right? He knew. And so I then, because I'm in a country area, I couldn't get in to see him till the end of January. And then I had to wait to get in to get the bone marrow biopsy. And
Waiting's the worst.
I had to wait till the 23rd of February before I actually had to ask him, did I have cancer? Because I think he just assumed I knew. It was horrendous. That time was the waiting game. And of course, where do we go? We go to Dr. Google, we go to AI, we start looking, okay, so what is this little beast that we're dealing with? Terminal. I'm going, what is this? What is this? I could not process it. And I think I cried for 6 weeks straight. I couldn't talk to anyone. I think we just, I don't remember exact words, but it was the most soulful, I thought I'd been knocked last time. This time I wasn't on my knees. This time I'm on the floor. And I cried. I couldn't stop crying because and all I prayed for was time between diagnosis and treatment. Because last time I had 6 days. And then 3 weeks later I'm chemotherapy. There was no time to process any of it. And all I prayed for was time. So on the 23rd of February, he goes, right, okay, well, we'll start chemo next week. What are you saying to me? And so it was so bad. And people who have had those diagnoses know exactly that feeling of, I wasn't just in the vortex of fear of what I call it. I was literally spiraling out of control. There was no bottom. I'm in the abyss. I couldn't see up or down. And I think when it's so traumatic in that space, there's nothing but to just be in the moment, which I didn't know what that meant at the time. I now know what that means. But back then, I didn't. And so it was a very, very traumatic time. Like, I got given a prognosis like it was a cup of tea. Would you like a cup of tea, Bron? Oh, by the way, you've got this many years to live and it's a single-digit people. I don't focus on it. Why? Because I've got my nursing education hat on. And I said, right, so tell me about the research. And he goes, well, most people are 70 years old and they go through 3 rounds of treatment because that's how we handle an incurable blood disease is you have active treatment, you have maintenance. You have active treatment, you have maintenance. They go through about 3 rounds of those and then they go, bugger it, I've had enough. They're 78 by this stage. And they give up and that's it. Right? And I looked at him, I looked at him and I said, I was 54. Do I look 70? And that was the day where I went, no, we're not doing it this way, people. This is not how the show ends. This is
You can't
not
do it
how
that way.
it is not, but it wasn't. And I'm not saying defy science. What I'm saying is find all of the aspects that make up a human being. Science and medicine is just one of them. You know, people go, oh, you're doing that treatment, are you? Meaning not alternative. And it's like, it's not alternative. It's just treatment. Doesn't matter how you choose, as long as you choose what is right for you.
What works for me might not work for you. And what works for someone else might not work for someone else. You know what I mean? So we can't sit here and be like, okay, well, I've heard you're supposed to do this and this. You know how many people told me to eat blueberries and drink kombucha?
Oh, same.
Like, I don't want to hear that. That's not the research that I'm doing. That's not the plan that I'm going for. I found out that for me, like I was telling you before we started recording, exercise worked for me. And it might not work for someone else. But when you get given this terminal diagnosis, you and I both have the same, different types.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't want to accept it. You're like, I'm not taking that. That's not going to be my life. I want to be the outlier. Like, this isn't going to work for me. I'm not accepting.
No. Exactly. And that's when I started what I call this, what has now become the Serenity Project. I am the project, just so you know. I'm beta testing myself. So I focused on the beautiful old prayer called the Serenity Prayer. So it starts with God, but you insert whoever you believe in. God, grant me serenity to accept what I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that is what I have carried with me to the point now, after my 50 plus appointments at the Cancer Institute, I no longer walk in with fear or anxiety. I don't have scanxiety anymore. I can get a little bit of a bit of rumble, but that would be normal, of course, but I'm not in that sweat lathered anxiety because I have learnt so consciously to be in the present. And like the book I'm writing is called Be Where Your Feet Are. When the shit goes down, and I called it the shit show 2.0, when that thing is chaos, the one thing you can do is be where your feet are. Not where they were last week and not next week, but literally be where your feet are. And when you start focusing on that, and I've had so many people, oh, it sounds too easy. Why? Because human beings love to complicate stuff. Well, what if it wasn't complicated? What if you literally trained your brain to be where your feet are? And you can do it. Every single one of us. So that's why I call it a path of healing, not a path of healed, but healing, because we no longer focus on whether it's curable or incurable. I'd love to just drop the word cure full stop for those people who don't get that opportunity. And survivorship, I'm a survivor. What if you're not? Can we just lose those words so that when you're walking into that Cancer Institute, we're all on a path of healing? Doesn't it have a bit of a different ring?
It does. I mean, I really relate to that because for having brain cancer, it's not, okay, this is how many years, and then you're in remission. Like, I'll never get to say, oh, my name's Gwen and I'm in remission. And that's hard. So I do agree with you. It's so hard to stay in the present moment just as humans.
Very.
Because we're thinking about, okay, well, I used to be able to do all this stuff in the past and I'm never going to be able to have that. Or how am I going to think about my future if I can't even get through this? Who's going to want to date me, marry me? What if I have kids and it comes back? It's so easy to spiral.
Oh, very.
And I also agree with you. I am a big believer in God, and I really try to put all of my trust and my faith in that and say, hey, I might be gone tomorrow. Yesterday, I can't go back in time. All I have is today. You know, I could step off the street and get hit by a car and pass away that way, and it's not going to be cancer that takes me.
Exactly.
And you just have to stay in the present moment and just be like, okay, what task can I do next?
It is next. It is absolutely next. And the way I share that story is when you and I are on the basketball court. Did you play basketball? I know you played tennis and I know you did
I played
weights.
basketball a little bit.
Okay, so we're taking you out of your comfort zone and we're hitting the basketball, right? We're on the same team and you and I, we're down the back. We're going to be shooting some goals, right? So we're in the offense and we are running down that court and you pass it to me and I do the layup, a dead easy layup, and I miss the shot. Everyone's shocked. What the hell? Bron missed the shot. Coach, time out, time out. Get off, everyone. 30 seconds. Come on over here. In that split second, there are two choices. One, we go for what has just happened and pull it apart. Oh my God, Bron, how did you miss that? You train all it. Or we can focus on the next play. Not the half of the game, not the whole game, not the season, but the literal next play. So when you're on a path of healing, the only thing that matters is the next play. When you're waiting for your appointments, I have blood tests every month. And it can get tiring because I remember my doctor said to me with this diagnosis, he said, Bron, it's going to be like a marathon. So last time or the time before, I said to him, remember when you told me it was going to be a marathon? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, I'm tired of running.
I don't like running.
I ran the New York Half Marathon, right? I've done my running and I got a really bad foot injury. And that's what it feels like. And it's okay to feel tired. And it's okay because the most important thing to do, I believe, when you are on a marathon of any description in health is that you feel the feels. So you're sad, you're angry, you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, you're whatever you want to do, you name it. You just name it.
You have the right to.
You are allowed to name that because when you don't acknowledge or name your feeling, right, what does it do? It's just going to ruminate round your head, right? But when you name it, even in most traumatic times, because this is what it feels like when you've been given a diagnosis, right? You cannot see anything. In that acute time and the free fall, there's not a lot you can do. But when you start to slow down a bit, when you name that emotion, what you're doing, and this is based on evidence, by the way, this is straight neuroscience. When you push it out, what does it do? It gives you space. And what does space give you? It gives you a chance to pause. And then we control the controllables. Okay, tick. It's literally, you could do it 100 times a day. You pause, you reflect what's going on. Remember, what's the next play? What's happening in our basketball game here, Gwen? And then we respond. We're not reacting, we are responding. We're coming from a power of strength. That is healing 101. Because when you do that, one, your brain, you are not your thoughts, right? Half the time they're not even real. So we focus on the ones that are real. We focus on the controllables. Then we respond. And guess what? You might have to rinse and repeat. But it's not a linear line. And it's not, well, we do it once and we're done. We keep doing that. So when I'm sitting in the waiting rooms, I take a photo of my feet every time, just so I've got a memory of my feet, which sounds kind of weird. Why? Because I'm being where my feet are. And I'm looking around at all these people and they're looking at me. We're all smiling at each other. But I haven't gone through the double doors yet. These people have gone through the double doors because they may not have the strength yet to be the CEO, as you introduced me, the CEO of my own ecosystem, which is myself. And who's on my committee? Because it may not. I'm on the committee. I make the decisions. And it's going to be because in health, the research tells us that out of 100, 20 people go, oh, I knew it. I knew I'd get cancer. What do? They curl up their toes and they die. This is based on evidence, by the way. The next 60 in the middle, these people just go along with the flow. Yes, sure, whatever. They're on a river, but they're making no effort. They're just floating down that river. And they're called passive bystanders. Then there's 20 who go, hang on a minute, and become an active participant. I am encouraging every single person to please be an active participant in their care. You're not bossying. What it want is that you can ask the questions, because I'd find that I'd go in and I'd get more questions on the way out than I would on the way in. Write them down. Take someone with you. You are entitled to the answers to the questions.
You got to be your biggest advocate, and you also got to be your biggest cheerleader. There were so many days where, I'm sure you felt this yourself, where I was just crying on the bathroom floor, and I was like, why is this happening to me? Why is this my life? I don't understand. And then I was like, no, I got to stop having a pity party. But I had those moments. And
And
that
it's okay. And it's
it's
okay to
okay.
have them, just don't stay there.
Yep. No, it's 100% okay because you have to let those emotions out because if you don't, it's going to come out in different ways. I remember when I first got diagnosed, I didn't want to talk about it. Then all of a sudden I dropped a plate and I'm hysterically crying. Not crying because there's broken glass, crying because I got cancer. And it's
Exactly.
dealing with those emotions.
Yeah. And, with the first diagnosis, because I was younger and the boys were a lot younger, I used to say to everyone, well, you don't know how strong you are until you have no choice. And so I felt like I'd done a lot of work on myself, and I think I did, but there was a lot of masking. Yeah, I'm great. How could you possibly be great, Bron? You're in the middle of chemotherapy and you've had a mastectomy. How are you possibly okay? And whereas now I'd say, oh, you know what? I am so totally not okay, but I'm okay. Same thing, because your brain believes everything it tells you. So if you tell your brain you're not okay, it's going to go and look for evidence. Oh, we're on the not okay day. Better make it a not okay day. Your brain will literally do what you ask it to do. So you got to be careful what your thoughts are. So where I was is that I would say to my boys, if mum's all right, everything's okay. If I'm not okay, I'll let you know. And in some ways, I took control of the situation versus being vulnerable and speaking how, like, I'm not going to say to my boys, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to die. No. What I'm saying is best way is like gratitude and grief can coexist. And being vulnerable about that is you're speaking your truth, and it takes courage. So now, if you'll love this, we used to have a swear jar, and it was $25 for the F word.
You owe them a lot of
said,
money.
So no one said the F word, right, until the diagnosis of cancer. Now I just go, you know what, I'm just going to pop my phone in that jar. And it's not about the swearing. It's about the vulnerability of showing a side. Like, I didn't cry much before with the breast cancer because I wanted my boys to know that I was okay.
And
But
I
I
feel like
wasn't
that's
okay.
part of you from, like you mentioned earlier, you're always taking care of people around you. And I think that's the same that whoever's diagnosed with cancer, especially women, we want to make sure everyone else around us is okay. Because if we truly admit to the people around us that love us, like, I think I'm going to die, I'm scared. Like, how do you think they're going to react? They're going to be like, well, what do you mean you think that? I thought, you're tough. You're supposed to be tough. So it's a very fine line of, okay, how do I navigate that? Because I want to share my emotions, but I also want to protect my children and my friends and my family at the same time.
Exactly. You want to protect, which is okay, as long as you don't control the situation and you choose how everyone else is going to respond. Because when you do that, you're not giving them the chance. And I only found out only maybe 2 years ago. So remember, I was diagnosed in 2017. So my younger two were quite young. Tom told me, he's 20 now, he said, Mum, that when Ollie and I'd go to school, we were terrified that you were not going to be there when we came home, and we didn't want to leave you. And they never, ever told me that. And it broke my heart that we were in a situation where we didn't have a space where he could speak his truth. And that's the vulnerability. It's not about saying, oh my God, I think I'm going to die. Or, I'm remembering I have been given a prognosis, and I've had these conversations with my husband and my best friend, and, they're not funny, but they're funny, right? And my husband goes, no, we're not doing this. We are not giving energy to something that hasn't happened. We are not there yet. We are not crossing that bridge. We will cross it when we have to cross it, but we are staying right here and right now. And I'll give it for, I think, between, say, October till April, one of my cancer markers was on a steady climb, which is what happens with myeloma. There's two main markers, and, they start they jump out of the gates, and then I asked the doctor, I was concerned, of course, thinking knowing that one day this may happen. And then he'd say, well, I said, well, is it going to be like a steady climb? And he goes, oh, it could be a vertical. Oh, thanks. Thanks a heap for that. Or it could sit there for a couple of years. And I'm going, okay, so processing that level of uncertainty is really interesting. And it's not an easy thing to do, but can you do it? Yes, you can, but you have to process it over time. It can't just be done once and it's done. It's a repeat. And so 5 months of climbing. And so I go back in April and he said, Bron, that cancer marker's right back in normal limits and you're in full remission again.
Wow.
And do I believe in miracles? I believe in miracles. And it felt like a leave pass. I'm not saying we are cured, because we're not. I don't play the curable, incurable thing. I can't. But what I do is go, great, I've got a leave pass and I'm running with it. And so in May, my blood results, they had elevated very slightly, but still within normal limits. And those pesky neutrophils, which is the reason why I went in the first place, for the first time had come up. I've had 2 good months in a row of those. A miracle.
That's amazing.
And
you catch your breath now for a little bit.
I'm on a leave pass. I'm off to Spain, Japan. I'm going to Disneyland for my birthday. All
the fun things.
All the fun things. And it's just about embracing what we have in the moment.
Just got to take it, one day at a time and one step at a time, and just try to put your best foot forward each day, because we really don't know.
It is. Tomorrow's guaranteed to no one, and it's not negative.
I totally agree with you. And before we wrap up here, is there any advice that you would give to someone when they first get diagnosed and, they feel like they're right here and they can't see anything forward and just everything seems like they're in an abyss and they can't catch their thoughts?
So what I would say, guys, is just be where your feet are for one. And just look after you in the moment. Don't worry about what other people are feeling. You are responsible for your feelings. So when people are putting their feelings on you, because people don't know what to say, and you'll cop the whole, well, my Aunt Joan, she got breast cancer and she's fine. Or you'll get, my dad had myeloma. Yeah, he's dead. Don't hang around those sort of people. Don't listen to those people. But be where your feet are. Be in the moment, because you don't know what's coming next, and the fear of uncertainty is crippling. It is crippling, as we know. Gwen, you and I know what that feels like. So I know how you're feeling, and know that you are not alone, but also know that we can't fix it all in the moment either. All we have is one moment at a time. And literally what you can do is breathe through it, because you're a human being. You're not a human doing. Please don't Google how to fix this, whatever. Like, I had someone say to me, Bron, you're going to have to, your loveless lifestyle choices is what got you here. How about bad shit happens to good people?
Yep.
Full stop. So blame and shame, thank you, goodbye. You didn't do anything wrong. You did the best you could with what you had. There's nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. So don't go and look for evidence of what you've done wrong. You don't need to go vegan overnight. If you want to, go vegan. But look at what you can control. Control the controllables and let go of what you can't control. I cannot control what's happening in my bone marrow today. What I can do is look after everything else.
100% agree with you, CEO.
That's true.
It is true. You're the CEO, and I can see why. I mean, you're giving some amazing advice here. So I really encourage anyone that's listening just to truly just take it day by day and just don't focus on yesterday and don't focus on tomorrow. Just truly stay present in the moment. But I just want to thank you so much again for coming on and
thank you.
Spending your morning with me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been lovely, lovely to spend some time with you.
You too. Well, that is the end of today's episode of Combating Cancer. As always, if this message resonated with you or someone else, please feel free to share it. My door is always open if you or someone you know want to come on and share your story, or if you have a business inquiry, please feel free to reach out to me. But that is all I have for you guys today, and I will chat with y'all next Wednesday.